Show number 3.
This
Otaku's
life.
I find we can be passionate about anything. People spend a lifetime chasing their dreams and interests. People paint on pinheads, run marathons, watch sports, watch movies, make movies, cook. But it's when it consumes a good portion of our life that people want to label it. I've always been interested in gadgets, in science, film, television, and now podcasting. But I never put a label on it. It's not who I am, it's what I do. I think today's generation is a little different. They're much more multifaceted. When I was in school, I learned from my father that you need to take interest in many things, not just one thing. Showing extracurricular interest will help you in life. And I believe he was correct. We as kids didn't have the forethought that we should be doing this because this helps us lead to a better life and better capability. I find that I'm interested in a lot of things, not just anime. I think we all live multiple lives. One where we take our interests privately and when we share our professional interests publicly. But when I go to a convention, that's when it switches. What I'm interested is what's on the forefront, and what I do professionally is the last conversation I have. I think all of us, as we become adults or already as adults, we live in this manner. But it shouldn't have to define you. You shouldn't have to define yourself to others to say, hey, I like anime. Labels are passé. They help fit you in with other people, but they shouldn't define you. This week, I asked my friend Aaron to talk about his introduction.
I grew up on a pretty steady diet of cartoons. I love watching stuff like Transformers, Silverhawks, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I grew up on a pretty steady diet of American cartoons. I was one of those people that never really grew up. When all my classmates were growing out of things, I kind of stuck with them. So I was watching cartoons well into my late middle school years when that wasn't really the age appropriate thing to do. As I was getting older, I started to pick up on how some of the shows that I was watching were not like the typical American show. So things that I watched like Dragon Ball Z or Ronin Warriors were starting to register as being different, not necessarily known to be Japanese to me at the time. It wasn't until a few years later when I was in high school, one Saturday morning, I was flipping through channels and came across the Sci-Fi Channel's weekly anime feature. And that given week, they were showing Project A-ko. That was the first anime that I watched knowing that it was anime. That kind of sparked an interest in me, and I watched that feature every week from then on out and started to explore anything that Blockbuster had, anything that the Showtime channel would show, regardless of how awful it was. I would watch pretty much anything. When I was 16, a friend of mine gave me a VHS tape of Go Nagai's Black Lion in dub. I still look fondly back to that because that tape had a preview for Neon Genesis Evangelion on it. I'm not really sure what it was about that preview that intrigued me, and I really enjoyed seeing adult anime because I was starting to, grow up a little bit. And while I still liked cartoons and animation, there weren't, very many adult, animated series to watch aside from typical adult sitcom. Something about it just grabbed me. And Evangelion was the first series that not only that I watched, but also collected. And this was back when VHS tapes were $25 to $30 a piece and only one language format. So I quite honestly don't know what about the show grabbed me to the point where I would make that kind of financial investment. But nevertheless, I did.
Once again, everyone, thank you for listening to this week's show. I hope you are enjoying it. I see that a good handful of you are downloading them. Thank you for downloading and listening. If you would like to contribute, you can always tell your point of view and your story on one of the subjects we've already covered, as well as we always love for people to submit their show opening. And all we would ask you to do is say, "This Otaku's Life," with pauses in between. And who knows, you might end up on a future show. Again, everyone, thank you for listening this week. And you can check out our website at thisotakuslife.com. And you can catch us in iTunes. And we hope you have a good one.